Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, it's so nice to hear you again and be back with you.
I know it's been a crazy, crazy last 3 weeks or so.
Oh my goodness. I had such a nice break, so it was really great to go to Nashville and see my best friend, and we just lounged around and just chatted.
Okay, cool, 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 cool. Well, I am glad that you had a good time, and yeah, it's been pretty busy around here too. So it is,
Absolutely.
but it is. So I was able to manage to be able to go ahead and fill in between time, but we are back together.
Yes, yes, it's nice to be, and of course, you could do this in your sleep without anybody every day if you wanted to. So,
I know, but I like engaging with you guys, so
thank you.
I'm glad you're back. All right, you guys, welcome to CBS Soap Dish Recap, where Trish and I recap both The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful for the week of May 30th through June 3rd. And we had a pretty interesting week. What did you think?
I think so too. Yeah, I was kind of excited. I had quite a few wrapped up to watch in a row and catch up.
Hmm.
So, it was kind of a marathon in the evenings for me. It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that obviously that was the exit. I was wondering how they were going to exit out Jacqueline for the whole maternity leave and everything.
Yep.
So yeah, I didn't expect it this way where she just, oh, I'll just leave town. I thought it was going to be something a little bit more dramatic when it came to the Steffi character leaving off the show. Well, she's gone or on a vacation, but for Jacqueline to leave to have her baby. So yeah, it was pretty interesting how they exit her out. Until she get back. She did have the baby. She was posting some pictures. So yeah, I mean, it looked like her belly is gone.
He has, when you're in that good of shape and your muscle has memory, I guess it just goes back to the way it was.
Yeah, and she eats healthy. She works out. She's very active. So it looked like she wasn't even pregnant.
Right, right. Yeah, she definitely respects the temple to her soul, no
Yes, she
question.
does. Yes, she does. All right. So what we normally do, we recap the Young and the Restless on the first half of the show, and then in the second half of the show, we do the Bold and the Beautiful, and then we also have a flip the script segment. So what that is that if there's a particular scene or storyline that we wish we could change, this is where we flip the script. All right. So let's go ahead. I'm going to give the summary and then we're going to break down all of you know, the storylines for each of the soaps. So for Young and the Restless, for the week of May 30th, we had Victor enlist Summer's help to keep Ashland from Harrison. And then we had Nick supporting Sharon through a rough patch. Is that May? Yeah, May 31st. Okay. And then we had Kyle serving Ashland with a restraining order. We also had today, my system is moving slow. Bear with me. Phyllis admit that she screwed up, and I got a lot to say about Phyllis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then last but not least is Victoria returns from her trip, and it doesn't look like she's quite over Ashland as of yet. So let's go ahead and break this down. So, let's see. And then there was some stuff that happened with Amanda and Imani and Devon and Nate, and so we can't forget about that
Wow.
either. You know what? Let's go ahead and talk about that storyline. So, what do you think about what's actually happening with Devon and Nate right now? Because it seems like with Devon, he don't want a lot of input on the business, but then at the same time, Nate wants to give advice, but looked like Nate kind of took a back seat on the second go round when they met with that other lady that they were doing business with. I don't think that's a dynamic that's going to turn out well. What about you?
It is absolutely going to go down in flames.
Yeah.
I mean, he's damned if he does and he's damned if he doesn't. And so he can't win with Devon. And I think it all goes back to the issues with Elena.
Mhm.
And, Devon got his ego hurt.
Mhm.
Nate lost his ability to do what he went to college for almost a decade.
Right.
And it seems to me like now that Nate works for Devon's going to put his thumb over it. And I'm not a fan. I don't like that.
Well, see, this also too goes back to the fact that when Lily tried to start this whole thing, when Jill was like, "Oh yeah, Neil and Catherine would love to have all of the companies kind of blend together." The issue is that Devon wasn't 100% sold on that idea of merging his company.
Nope.
So, with that being said, and they had to push him into it. Remember?
Yes,
So, yeah, because I mean, they really had to convince him that this was a good idea. And then he decided to go ahead and do it. But I still think there's a part of him that wants to kind of, I don't know, kind of go slow with this whole thing. You know what I mean? So, I don't see how this is going to work with Nate and Devon. And then let's don't forget about this whole mess that's going on between Amani and Amanda. Oh my gosh.
well, I always tell Adam actually, because if I ever went to my CEO and CFO and COO and said, I decided to come to the meeting, you weren't invited to the meeting. Why
Exactly.
are you at the meeting? Like, go back to work. We pay you to do your job and you're not doing it because you're interloping in our meeting that you weren't invited to. That annoyed me so bad. And then
Yeah.
sucking up to Nate. Really, oh,
Yeah, Amanda was pissed because number one, like you said, she showed up to that meeting uninvited. And then the second thing was is that she was really laying it on thick to try to impress Nate. And I don't it seems like Nate is kind of taking it in stride, but Elena is at the point where she's so insecure that she's having like these little dreams about cheating and all of that stuff. I was like, wow. I mean, that's how far it's gotten,
yep.
you know.
Yeah, and Elena needs to be careful to watch out for self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, because remember that whole interaction at the coffee house. She sat down and had a conversation with Elena. I mean, Amani. She sat down and had
Right.
a conversation with Amani, and boy, I mean, Amani is just cool as a cucumber, but everybody else is tiptoeing around her,
Yeah.
you
Because
know.
she knows she's a loose cannon, you can tell.
Yeah, and that whole thing with Amanda and her, I thought they was going to get into a whole out argument at the hotel with your fellow, you got the CEO sitting up there. I'm not like, I'm surprised Lily wasn't like, excuse me, but are you two okay?
Well, it was almost like Imani was daring Amanda to take the next step, but she just fought it off.
Yeah, I will say this much. Amani can do whatever she does. It's up to Nate to not engage
Right.
because he's the one in the relationship.
That's right. He needs to be separate place.
Now, is she being disrespectful? Yeah, but I guess a lot of that. Now, here's the thing: there are some people that are saying this is Elena's karma.
Yeah, I've seen that too, but I kind of feel like um, Elena went on the apology tour and was
Yeah,
sincere about it, and Amanda forgave her, so you know,
yeah.
Devon forgave her, so he said.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it seems as if she did go through this whole that everybody has forgiven her, but I guess the fans haven't. Some of
Well,
them.
guess what?
So they was like, "Oh, that's what she get. You know, you came in between two cousins, and now you want to feel some kind of way when somebody's coming for your man." So, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting situation. Especially because the fact that Nate is, even though he's reassuring Elena that, they're good and he want to spend more time and make time for her, he's still not setting boundaries with Amani.
He's not, and you never know who's working on this out there.
You
Well,
know what this is going to lead into, right?
the writing's on the wall.
Yep. And then they're going to be pissed off. I'm wondering if it's a situation where it could really blow up everything in regards to, you know, with the company, with Lily, all of them working together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Make it so untenable that nobody wants to do it.
Right. Exactly. You know, so I don't know. We'll have to see, but it was not a. It was really unprofessional because first of all, even if she wasn't pushing up on Nate, she still shouldn't have been at that meeting unless she was asked to be there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, when she said that, I just almost fell out of my chair. What?
Yeah, we're
What
like,
makes
girl, what are you doing there? Are you
what
serious
makes
right
it
now?
right?
Okay. So then let's see, because like I say, with the whole Devon Nate thing, that's about to implode as well. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Phyllis.
Man, she just lost it and became unhinged. And it was so unhinged and so over the top. I was really annoyed because I want to think and hope, and I'm probably wrong, but I would love it if she and Jack were setting Diane up, but I know it's not true.
Hmm.
Or I wish, well, she went off the rails.
Right, she did. I mean, I was almost at the point, especially in today's episode when she was talking to Amanda.
Right?
She kept repeating Diane's name like 5 or 6 times. Like it's almost like she's at the point where she needs therapy.
She definitely needs therapy. And this Diane coming back thing has triggered a lot for her. And I mean, I get it. Their past was beyond tumultuous. And at the same time, you're going to let that woman live in your head rent free? Come
That's what
on.
I'm saying. And I think I kind of said this. I don't know if I might have said it in the comment section somewhere. But the thing is that why are you giving this woman that much power? She lives, breathes, thinks everything. Diane ain't thinking about you.
No.
And half of the interactions that happened between her and Diane, Phyllis initiated. So it wasn't
Yep.
like, Diane is coming up to her apartment room and she's just poking and sending her cryptic messages. Diane just happened to be there and she always run up on her saying, "What are you doing? Why are you here? What are you doing?"
Right.
And then
Right.
of course Diane goes back and forth with, this whole thing, like this conversation, because again, she's cool as a cucumber. And just, she's just like, okay, you want to have a conversation? Let's have a conversation. And she ends up on the losing side of the conversation all of the time.
Every single time.
Yep,
You can't keep her mouth shut. And,
exactly.
so yeah, I mean, she went over and above whenever she was in front of Diane with Jack, but
Hmm.
we all knew where that was going when they went to California together, and then they got back, and then Jack went, and then Phyllis showed up, and you could see the way they were looking at each other. So it's not like it's surprising that they would have taken things to the next step, regardless of Diane. But now it's all because of Diane, and it just really makes me mad because I, for one, was annoyed whenever they broke Phyllis and Nick up because, as you know,
Exactly.
I was a Phyllis and Nick fan because they are so hot together. And now she's back with Jack, and it's boring that she's back with Jack, but the whole Diane story, and now she's not back with Jack. was all, I don't know. I just,
Yeah,
oh,
I just they messed that up. I mean, and even the way that it went down, that Phyllis sabotaged that whole relationship with Nick on purpose.
both
Just
of them, Nick and Jack.
mm-hmm. They both sabotaged that relationship that Nick was in. Nick is looking like lost, like where did all this come from?
Doesn't he look lost?
Yeah, he's moved on. It seemed like he's moving towards Sharon, but the thing is that with this whole thing with Phyllis, it's just like you the one that threw the relationship into a dumpster fire.
Yep,
You go over there sniffing around Jack. Jack played cat and mouse, so you backed off. And then you still wanted to back off because for months she kept telling Amanda, we're just friends. We're just friends. Nothing's happening. We're just
yep,
friends. Diane come to town. You get triggered that Diane is going to somehow sleep with Jack or whatever she thought. And then now you're setting up things for her to see you and Jack together and you kissing and slobbing all over Jack in front of Diane. It looks pathetic.
doesn't it? And it's so over the top. And oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
just so
Phyllis,
annoyed at that.
yeah, Phyllis looks absolutely pathetic. She's triggered. She's spazzing out. And I mean, to the point that, Amanda was like, because she kept blaming it on Diane. And Amanda was like, you're going to have to take responsibility for your actions. You can't blame everything on Diane. And for a moment, she kind of, you know, and then next thing you know, it's Diane. It's
Right.
Diane. I'm like, girl, you need, okay, go talk to somebody quick.
Let me get you the name of my therapist. He's really good.
I mean, seriously. I mean, like you said, Diane is living rent free in Phyllis's head, and it's so deep into her psyche that she's just all over the place, and it sucks. But you know what? I mean, she lied to herself. She
Yep,
lied to Amanda, and she lied to Jack because Jack specifically asked, "Are you
yep.
doing all of this because of Diane?" Oh no, no, I'm not doing this just because of Diane. I love you, or whatever she was saying. And then, of course, when the whole interaction happened at the Grand Phoenix, uh, oh yeah, and it feels great that I'm sleeping with Jack just to get back at you. And I'm like, and Jack looking at her through that, when he came in that door,
Hmm.
I was like, oh, you messed up big time.
Well, yeah, big time. And not only that, you're in the lobby of your own hotel. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, you're not being professional. I mean, if I was working behind the counter or the bar or somewhere and I'm looking at my boss just spazzing out over this woman who seems to be cool as a cucumber, I'll be looking like, what is really going on?
Exactly. Get help.
Yeah, seriously. Because here's the thing, it's not okay, if they notice all of the crazy talk, because Jack talked crazy to her, Nikki slapped her, um, what's the other even Sharon had something to say to her. It doesn't phase Diane. You cannot penetrate somebody who really she really don't care what you think.
She does absolutely does not care. Uh-uh.
You know how they say the opposite of love is not hate, is indifference. She's
Yes,
indifferent.
she's indifferent about everything except Kyle and now Harris.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The more you poke at this woman, it only makes it worse for you, and especially because she's not responding. Because I think they are expecting her to act like the old Diane and
Yep.
how she respond and act out. She's not. She's just looking at them with this smirk on her face, like, "Yeah, go ahead and act a fool. I'm gonna let you look crazy."
Right. Right. And it's working. It's working.
It's working. I know, right?
Oh,
But I mean, as for everybody else, they don't like her. I would say the biggest spaz last week was Nikki. But
poor
yeah,
girl.
yeah. I mean, she started that fight.
She did.
I mean, and I talked about it on the last live and the last podcast. Is that She was in there minding her business, drinking her coffee, and here comes Nikki hurling insults and calling her a gold digger. Now, I don't agree with the fact that Diane slapped her, but Nikki started it.
Yeah, but I can't even really blame Nikki. I mean, Nikki was dragged through the mud and through over the rocks whenever Diane faked her death. I
But
mean,
remember, go ahead, I'm sorry.
it was harsh, man. It was bad, and I don't blame Nikki, but I don't blame Diane for smacking her either, and I don't blame Nikki for smacking her back. It made for some good TV.
It was good. I mean, it was hilarious. I'm like, I haven't seen a big fight like that since Brooke and was it Tay?
Stephanie.
Brooke
Oh,
and
Brooke and Taylor.
Stephanie and Brooke and Taylor
Yeah.
and oh yeah. So
I
it was.
know. I yelled at my TV. I was like, "Oh no! Oh gosh!" She did. She really did.
Oh my goodness, it was crazy. But you know, my thing is with Nikki is that you wouldn't have had this issue of being a suspect if you weren't in the park that night.
That's
So
true.
you know, I mean, if you weren't trying to hunt somebody down and kill them and they happened to come up dead, in this case she faked her death, you can't be mad at being a suspect because you were there.
You were there,
You
and
were
you made your
there.
hatred known.
Right,
It was
exactly.
well-deserved hatred too.
I mean, because if she wasn't there, she wouldn't have had nothing to worry about. But that was part of the storyline at the time. But you know, it's just interesting the way that all play out. And I'm sitting up there looking at Nikki like, "This is your fault," and they put me through all of that when they thought you were dead, and I was one of the main suspects. Well, you were one of the main suspects because your butt was in the park.
But it was.
So you gonna have to own that one. You gonna have to own that one. But anywho, um, yeah. So you know, like I said, I will give it to Michelle Stafford for really acting this one out.
Big time.
I'm surprised. She looked like she's for real. That's how
Yeah.
good she is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got to give it to her for that one because she really. Oh my God, today's episode, I'm looking like you said, I got a therapist on standby. You
Right.
know, you need to talk to somebody because even she admitted she was like something is so wrong.
Yes, she
I'm
did.
lying to myself. I'm going back to the old me. And it's because of Diane. No, you going back to the old you because you're the one triggering everything. It's not like Diane is coming after you.
You had a choice.
You got a choice.
Yep.
You know, so you need to go figure that out and handle that mess. It's just crazy. But anyway, it makes for fun TV though.
It does. It does. Thankfully, it's not real life. Well, not. I mean, not for us anyway.
Yeah, not for us anyway. Okay, so let's kind of maneuver over to Jack because Jack is so upset. And he should have listened to his gut because I mean originally the first thing he thought was, why is she doing this? It's been months and we haven't done anything. We were just friends and now all of a sudden we're this relationship and we're all booed up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Yep.
he feels stupid now because he should have listened to his gut, right?
Yep.
And now this whole mess, and then he ends up hearing what Phyllis had to say. I would be upset too, but you know, he overlooked what his original thought was. He second guessed himself.
That always bites you.
Yep, it sure does. But looking at the previews for next week, he's done with her.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty harsh.
Well, you know, I mean, if she's spazzing out and every time they have a moment of, you know, going on a date or having some food and Diane always come up, who want to deal with that?
Nobody.
You know, and I mean, so he's like, look, I'm done. You know, you're obsessed with Diane. You're only with me to stick it to Diane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have time for that. And I don't blame him. Poor thing.
I know he can't win. I mean, Jack is always not going to win when it comes to women and love.
No,
They
not
just
at
won't
all.
hold him.
Not at all. So, okay. So then we have the whole storyline with both. Hmm, okay, so I want to touch on this a little bit. This whole thing with Kyle and Summer moving back to General City. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like I don't know what they're going to do with this. Are they going to do the whole process of it all? But it's almost like okay. So when Summer brought up the idea, right? Summer said that Angelina Marchetti did not tell well she was not truthful about the financial state that the company was in. So Summer had to look this information up on her own. She found out that the company was bleeding money and that she wanted to pitch it to Jack to buy it. Okay, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we get through this whole week and now we get to today's episode and Jack is like, oh yeah, it looks like a great idea. I'm thinking we're gonna run it past the board. And my thing is like, did anybody ask Angelina Marchetti if she even wanted to sell it?
Oh, see, yeah, that always cracks me up with these business deals. It's always the understood you.
Yeah, it's like, because I'm like, wait a minute, did I miss something? Because I never heard anything in the past couple weeks when this whole storyline came up about whether or not Angelina Marchetti was even ready to sell. She didn't even tell Summer what the financial state was. And you go behind her back, look at the information, and then try to sell the company from up under her.
Oh, it's a hostile takeover.
Oh, absolutely. So, but the way that the writers have it, it's almost like it's set in stone and they're happy to be moving back home. And I'm like, wait a minute. Who's to say Angelina Marchetti is going to be like, no, just going to give my business to the kids or her
Right.
kids or sell it off to, I'm just going to throw this out there, sell it off to Forrester Creations. Who
Exactly.
knows?
Right, right.
It's just interesting that the two of them, I mean, Kyle don't even work for the company, but he's like, yo, let's try to merge the companies. I'm like, don't you got to get approval from the owner?
You would think.
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody else caught that, but that was something that I was like, wait a minute, slow down.
Big piece missing.
Yeah, that's a big piece of that. So I don't know how to, maybe that's a twist in the storyline that the writers are going to do where they will have Angelina Marchetti's like, oh my God, who are you to do this? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But they're happy about coming home, and so is Jack, and whatever. I'm glad that they're back, though, especially Michael Mueller. I do kind of miss Hunter King.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's such a great actress, and I have my DVRs all set for the Hallmark channel tomorrow evening. So
What is she going to be
hopefully,
on Hallmark?
yeah, she's in a Hallmark movie tomorrow evening, and there was a big exodus from Hallmark to some new station by a lot of the Hallmark actors. So there may be like a whole new slate of actors that are going to be the leads in those movies now, and she might wind up being one of them.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Cool. All right. I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that. Thanks for
yeah, check your
mentioning that.
yeah, and it's yeah. I've got the DVR set so I can catch that for sure.
Yep. Okay. So, what do you think? Is this transitioning us to this whole thing with Ashland Locke? What do you
Mm.
think about Kyle and Summer interfering with everything, this whole agreement that they have with Ashland Locke in regards to Harrison?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think what Ashland did was horrific and heinous in every way, and Harrison loves him,
Mm-hmm.
and he yes, he lied to Harrison, and Harrison is a little boy that probably didn't understand how his daddy was sick in the first place. That he was, that of course he's sick. The kid's what, three
Mm-hmm.
and a half or four when they told him.
Right.
And so, I mean, I don't know that they're really truly making this about Harrison, um, because Harrison was thrilled to see him when he saw him. And now all of a sudden, this little kid is now not going to be seeing the other parent that he's known since birth, whether he was, there a lot or not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just kind of, I get where they're coming from, but at the same time, that's pretty harsh.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. And I mean, here's the thing, which Victor sounds like a big hypocrite today, but
Yes.
I just got to say that he sounds like a big hypocrite today. But yes, he said what he said to Harrison. Like you say, he don't probably remember any of that. All he know is that that's father, right?
Yeah.
The whole interaction in the park was absolutely ridiculous. Why not? If this is going to be his last time seeing him, he wasn't hurting the boy.
Nope.
Harrison was enjoying spending time with him. He even wanted Ashland to go get ice cream with the nanny,
Right.
and you interrupt this with telling him you can't see him anymore, and we're getting a restraining order.
Right.
Now, the problem that I have with Kyle and all of this is like, you got a lot of nerve because the
Yep.
only you knew you talking about how horrible Ashland Locke is. You knew who he was, which is why you hid the affair for so long. You slept with the Loch Ness monster's wife.
Right.
That's how you even got involved in this because you were the side dude to Tara Locke,
Exactly.
And so for you to now want to be all high and mighty and oh my God, this is what you did to my son. Um, he slept with his ex-wife. He he actually was pretty darn gracious to arrange this with you because again
Hmm.
you were the side dude, and then now after all of this stuff with Victoria, which the Newmans invited and all of that nonsense,
Yep.
he don't even know that part of the story. All he knows is that his wife is Summer Newman and Summer is a Newman that's part of the Newman family, so you got to protect the Newmans. You need to figure out the whole story
Yeah.
before you.
Exactly. Exactly. And Summer doesn't know either.
Yeah, she doesn't know the whole truth either, and why? That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you getting all mad, hot, and bothered. Jack don't even know the whole story, and he getting everybody all pissed off and triggered about this whole thing. When the Newmans asked for all of it, they were active participants in this whole thing.
Exactly. Brought him in.
Brought the man in, tried to eliminate Billy Gaines, Nicholas. Oh, you're not going to ruin this wedding. And that's we're going to talk about Victor because he just, oh my God.
Yeah. That's some entitled nerve.
That's a lot of entitled nerve that he had. But yeah, I just didn't agree with that whole thing with, I mean, what was Ashton going to do to the boy? He wasn't
No.
going to do anything to Harrison. He's been nothing but nice to his son
Yep.
legally. But on the flip side of that, they could have arranged something like a supervised visit or something if you worried about if he's going to do something, which he wasn't.
Right.
So I don't know. What's your did you have any more thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I get that they're concerned, but I don't. They went too far.
Yes,
Just
they
too
did.
far.
It just makes no sense to me. Um, and then Victor pushed because he got
Oh,
friends in high
yeah.
places.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
so let's talk about Victor. So okay. And well, hold on before we get there because there's this whole conversation with Victor and Adam, and it's just so it's just I don't want to say irritating, I guess, or infuriating because he continues to take up for Victoria when all of this stuff was her choice. And as much as, and I know, because I know you and I have had conversations on previous podcasts about, her making her look more of a stronger person and stuff like that, because I remember your comments on that. But the way they wrote the storyline is that her choices got her to where she is, and now that nobody wants her to take accountability for it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the thing between Victor and Adam is it's still recycled, and it's just annoying because Adam is more like Victor than any of the other kids.
Hmm.
Even though his mom was so giving and so loving, he still wound up being ruthless, vindictive. aggressive, and and really smart and snaky,
Mm-hmm.
and that's Victor. And Victoria tries to be tough, but she also really does have integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And so she can't make some of those same decisions that Adam is able to make, like his father would make. And then, he'll do it and ask for forgiveness, where she'll ask for permission and be told no. And so, I mean, it's always going to be a struggle, because I think it's when you have less tolerance for someone, typically it means that there's something about them that is so like you on your personality scale, of something that maybe you don't like about yourself, that's why there's a part of you that holds that person back in some way, shape, or form in this scenario with Victor and Adam.
Gotcha. It's just that my thing with Victoria is she has done some horrible things as well in business in
Cruel.
regards to Adam.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we can always go back to the whole thing when she was part of that team with Billy Abbott. To when Billy was trying to set up Adam to print some stupid story about him being an
Oh, yeah.
alcoholic and then sue him for defamation. And it never happened. But because Victoria ran in there and told her father, oh my God, he almost got caught up. Okay, almost getting caught up and getting caught up is not the same, especially when you were the one trying to um, exacerbate the situation. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, and then on the flip side, the choices that you're making would have gotten well, it did. I mean, nothing actually happened, but just for the fact that it could have happened, Victor took that man's company away from him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Victoria can do everything she wants the way she wants and all this whole other craziness, and it's like, oh, don't give your sister a hard time, or don't try to do, and Adam is always like, okay, okay. I gotta give it to Ashland Locke in this case, because when Adam and Ashland had that conversation at the bar this week, and Adam was trying to be smug with Ashland, and I was, because I'm normally an Adam Newman fan,
Yeah.
and Adam was trying to be self righteous in that moment, and
Yeah.
I'm like, Adam, come on now, dude,
Please.
please. You sitting up here looking all smug and talking down to him when you really aren't forgiving yourself. These people tolerate you, but they really
Exactly.
don't want to be around you.
Get a mirror.
And when I said about the fact that, I got to give it to Ashland Locke because he brought that reality stone directly to Adam in that moment. Like, dude, you still aren't in good graces with your daddy. You still trying to get his approval. The Newmans aren't there with you like that yet. So don't come looking smug at me.
Right.
You're
Wipe
not.
that
Go ahead. What
face.
you say?
Wipe that grin off your face.
Exactly. So I'm like, Adam, you being kind of self righteous. So, I didn't too much like that particular part of it, but and then he was all part of that whole thing to help them get married and all of that stuff. And now all of a
Right?
sudden it's like, I need you to leave town. I'm like, come on, Adam. Only person I could really get behind on that is Nicholas.
I agree. And I'm glad he took the money.
Yeah, yeah, he took the money. So now look like for a minute that Sally and Adam's plan is going to be off the table, but with Victoria back and in that
Uh-huh.
whole conversation with Adam and Ashland Locke, Ashland was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to prove it to you that I can get Victoria back."
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "Okay, I'm back in the catbird seat," and then well, I'm glad she came back because next week we like it's going to be a whole different story.
And it even looked like she may have slept on the couch at his hotel.
Well, I did a spoiler alert. I don't know if did you see the video I
I
posted?
didn't.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I did not.
I posted it on in the group, and I also posted it on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
for spoilers that were coming up for the week of June 6th.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, according to the spoilers for next week, and if you don't like spoilers, cover your ears, walk away, or anything. But for you guys who do want to know, from what I understand, she's supposed to disown her family and run away with them.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
And that's what, and when I posted it in the groups last weekend, people was like, "Oh, that's a lie. She's not gonna do that." I'm like, just wait till the week of June 6th.
Yeah. Dang
And
it.
sure enough, because I was like, please don't have me looking crazy out here.
Right, right.
and and sure enough, when I saw the previews at the end of the week, today's episode, I was like, that's what they're talking about.
Right, right.
Yeah. So I mean, and what's now the question is, with her going back to Ashley, is Victor going to actually give Adam the CEO seat of Lumen? What do you think?
That's a great question. That'll be very interesting to find out. Good,
But
but
you got to remember, COO is Nikki. Could
right.
he put her in that position until
Well,
figure out?
now she's not co-CEO. She's not COO. She's co-CEO, isn't
That
she?
is correct, right?
So is she going to be CEO? Well, that'd be a real kick in the pants.
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know if that's a writer's flaw or there's another twist coming because Adam and Sally could be prematurely getting excited about this next week because yeah, she's co-CEO.
Yeah,
So it's a possibility that she'll just slide into that position by herself. The question is she going to want to do it, and if Victor is going to be okay with it. I mean,
right.
I would think he would be, but you just never know. Just never know. So, um, yeah, that's interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that.
Me too. Me too.
I know the spoilers for June 13th should be coming out today or tomorrow, so I'll do another video of that. And this time I'll just send it to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I
I'll
can't wait
send
to
you the
see.
link. Yep, when I
Perfect.
when I upload it. Okay. So, all right, let's move to this conversation with Ashlyn and Victor. Ashland is like, this is your fault, and I know you had to put some steam behind this whole restraining order. And honestly, like you said, Trish, they're not doing it because they really worried about Ashland. They're doing this because of the fact that they just want him out of town.
Yeah.
That's all this is, you know. And it's so unfortunate because you're about to hurt that boy. And a lot of them, and Victor is like, you're no good for the boy, and all. And I'm like, Victor, how are you gonna take this boy away from this man when you know what that's like?
Well, exactly. And not only that, you don't know. It's not like you're spending time with that boy. You don't know him. He's barely your grandson.
Yeah, did you notice that? Oh, my grandson.
Right.
I'm like,
Talk about
yeah.
taking territory.
Yeah, and how is that his grandson? Because Summer is his granddaughter.
Exactly. So it would be his great grandson.
Exactly. I'm like, come on. And Kyle is not his son, so
No.
yeah, that whole he always try to claim anything close to a Newman as being family,
Yeah. Yeah.
But that whole conversation with Ashland, where he was like, "You, what did he say? What was the word that he used? It's kind of like him saying." You seduced my daughter, but he used a different word.
What was it?
Not persuaded, but
Manipulated?
it was something about you, kind of like if he sucked her into his plan. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Victor, stop.
Yeah. She was right there. She was ready. She was a willing. She helped weave the fabric.
Yeah, because she went in before she fell in, and then oh yeah, then she that he kind of forced her to fall in love with him. And I'm like, come on. She came in the door being disingenuous because when she thought the man was going to die, she wanted to take that company. She
Right.
fell in love in the process.
Exactly. And not only that, she was flirting with him when they were talking about the media company. The way she
Exactly.
looked at them and everything. So, no.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And then talking about you made us have that big wedding at Tuscany. I'm like, Victor, you gave them that property.
Right. And she's the one that wanted it.
Exactly.
She's the one that made all the plans.
She went and had that dress and all of this stuff, and he dared anybody to stop that wedding. So for him to sit up there and act like he got selective amnesia and that it was all his doing with this whole wedding, the romance, the love, I'm like, I'm sitting up there, I was cracking up because I was like,
Yeah.
I can't believe he's saying this.
Yeah, I really, that's one thing that really kind of gets under my skin about these writers is that they really just put the characters in such a position of hypocrisy that sometimes it makes you pissed off to just watch it. You know, it's like, this is really annoying because you think we forgot? We didn't forget. We don't forget anything.
Right. But it makes, and I guess unless they're just trying to make Victor Newman this vindictive, hypocritical, it's my way or nobody else's way type of scenario, because the way he was talking to Ashland Locke as if he forgot everything that it was his doing. Nick tried to stop this whole thing by going to New Jersey to get dirt. And when he got dirt, you didn't want to hear.
Exactly, because Victoria had made up her mind. Even knowing full well that the man isn't even Ashland Locke.
I mean, that was the reason that, you know, Victoria and Nicholas was at odds with each other for so long, is because of that whole information that he found out in Jersey. And then Victor was like, "Oh, why are you doing that to your sister?" Because you told him to go get it.
Exactly.
You know, so no, all I could do was laugh because it was just so hypocritical. It was just that ridiculous to watch.
It was ridiculousness. I agree.
And then for them to act so surprised about it, that this actually happened, that, Ashland did this, it's like you knew what he was capable of.
Exactly. I mean, and you're the one who stopped everybody else from knowing what he was capable of.
Yeah, I mean, you knew about the will, you knew about the burning car situation, you knew about all of it, and then and Victoria decided to marry him anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
And you didn't want anybody to stop that wedding. So as far as I'm concerned, you signed up for this.
Exactly. You did. You not only created the invitations and the event, but you invited yourself with an embossed engraved invitation.
Exactly. You signed
up. And then you accepted an RSVP yes to yourself.
Yep. I mean, you signed. They all, Victoria, even Adam, because he wanted to get so good into the family that he just went along with this whole thing. When Nick and Gaines and Billy and all of them, they were ostracized because they was trying to expose this man. But no, you ruined my daughter's wedding. I'll never forgive you. Okay, well, now the snake turned around and bite you. You can't get mad at inviting a snake into your house, and then when it bites you, then you're mad at it.
No, you can't. It just does what it does.
Yep, it does. Like you said, it does what it does. So, and then Victoria comes back, and because of her mom being manipulative, because that's what this is, I'm going to take you out of town. And then she gets back and say, well, did you forget about Ashland? And I'm like, that don't work like that.
Did you forget about Victor all the times that you left him for the heinous things he did?
You are absolutely correct. That's another hypocrite because it's like, how you gonna get mad at somebody? Your husband is the identical to this man,
Yep.
identical. So you got. I mean, the apple don't fall far from the tree. So if
No.
if Victoria has been watching her mother go back and forth with Victor, what do you think possibly could happen with Victoria?
I did something called a pattern. I don't know.
Yeah, something. Yeah, you're right. A pattern. It's just so crazy. But Victoria shut down. She was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of y'all micromanaging me. Guess what? I ain't telling you nothing.
Right. I don't need to govern us.
Did you see Nikki's face? Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What am I? And then she texting Victor talking about, I don't think it works. Stop trying to manipulate. You can't tell somebody to change their thoughts. They have to want to change them themselves.
Well, exactly. The emotions are not like a faucet. You can't just turn it off.
Yep, unless the person chooses to. And, in this case, Victoria is not ready to do that.
No.
I don't care what Victor's trying to say. And then he comes up in the office at the end of the episode. Guess what I did?
Yeah.
And
Like
she,
it's all good news.
now I guarantee you, it's probably the fact of that restraining order because it looked like that's going to lead into Monday's episode.
Uh huh.
The fact of that restraining order against Harrison, I mean, against Locke for Harrison, that's probably what's going to pull them closer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think Victoria's going to be happy about the fact that her father took that boy from him.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think he's going to be happy about that at all.
Yep. So I'm wondering how she planned to do this. Now they saying, according to the spoilers, that she's supposed to kind of walk away from her family.
Yeah.
But is this going to be something where? Because I know she ain't gonna want to walk away from her position at Newman. I don't think.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. But even if she do walk away from Newman, or if she does stay at Newman, is she going to try to sneak and see Ashland on the side or something? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this play out.
It will.
I mean, if the whole disowning thing is like they say it is, then yeah, that's going to be huge. Her family is going to be pissed.
Oh, absolutely. And with good reason.
Well, the other reason is that Daddy Dearest gave up $500 million.
Right? At least Nick got half of it back.
Yeah, yeah, and that was crazy too because Victor was like, take the $500 million and get out of town. I'm like, you got 250 back in your
Right.
family.
It's only 250, dude.
It's only 250, so
I'll take a little of that scratch over here. Thank you very much.
I know, right? All right, so I'm trying to think. Did we cover every? We didn't get no Abby this week, did we?
None.
Wait,
No.
wait, wait, wait. Did she have a
Just a
run
little
in with?
bit.
She did have a run in with Diane this week, early this week.
Yeah, and then the little, drop off of the baby. That was it.
Yeah, she was giving Diane a hard time, and then somebody, who was that told her to chill out?
Oh,
Somebody came in there, and Abby was watching Diane from a distance, talking to somebody. I forgot.
I can't remember
Yeah, it
either.
was a very small part. So, um, Sharon and Nick, they talk about Cassie. Now, here's the thing. I don't know. I was kind of, I had a side eye to Nick in that situation because he said, "Man, you were so occupied and busy that you didn't even think about Cassie." And I'm like, her husband just died.
And how do you know what she thought?
Exactly. And it's like, I get it. This is a ritual that you do every year. And I think Cassie has been gone for a decade now
Yeah,
or longer, whereas Ray has been gone like 3 weeks.
exactly.
So, I mean, I would think that she's still thinking about her husband. It didn't take away what happened with Cassie. But, the way Nick was describing it is like, dang, you just forgot all about Cassie. And I'm like, her husband just passed away. So, yeah, I think that would be something in the forefront. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but they made it where she was able to go. They didn't even show that. Normally, every year they show them visiting Kathy, but we saw them walk out the coffee house and saw them walk back in. So
Yeah, they didn't show any of it this time.
just like they didn't show Ray's memorial service, we saw them walk out the
Right.
house and walk right back in. Okay. And then what else do we have? I think that's it, right?
I think so. That was a lot.
That was a lot. It really was. Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I kind of gave you guys a tidbit of the whole spoilers for next week. So, hold on, let me pull up my stuff for bold. Oh, what was that?
Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what happened. I thought it was like my tablet or something.
I accidentally pulled the cord on my charger and it moved to my laptop.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Scooped it and it made a weird sound.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what that was. Okay, so let us move on to the bold and the beautiful. And for the recaps for the bold and the beautiful, we are looking at let's see, hold on. Oh boy, my notes is all over the place. Mm, okay, here we go. So Carter mold Carter mulled over committing to Paris to prove he was over Quinn. Quinn demanded to know if Carter really loved Paris. Steffi told Liam she was leaving town. Taylor asked Ridge to tell Brooke he needed time with Taylor. Yeah, yeah. And then today, Brooke got sent home. I'm like, oh boy. Yeah, Brooke got sent home. Okay, so well, we did have a little bit of Eric and Donna this week too. So we can't forget about that. So we have the whole thing with Eric and Donna, Steffi leaving town, this whole trio between Taylor, Ridge, and Brooke, and this whole thing with Carter and Quinn. So which part you want to take over first?
Let's go with Carter and Quinn.
Okay, so he's begging,
Literally.
and she's like, "No, I can't do that."
And Eric is shacking up with Donna. I mean, poor Carter. He just can't win.
Hmm.
And Quinn still loves him. I mean, look at the way she's looking at him.
Right.
And you can feel the electricity between the two of them. And you know how hot I thought they were.
Right.
And there Eric is, and this whole honey bear nonsense. And I'm so annoyed with Donna, and I just can't wait until we find out what happens when Quinn finds out. Is he going to run to Carter? Is Carter already going to be involved with Paris? Is Paris going to wind up pregnant? What is going to happen?
Well, from what I understand is because I kind of got a little bit of tidbit of what supposedly is to be happening down the line, and that Carter and Paris is supposed to be married. Now we'll have to wait and see if that actually pans out, but that's what I understand is supposed to happen.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. And if Quinn finds out that pickleball is happening, which that ring she gave him was to keep an eye on his heart rate, right?
yes, he has no clue.
Right, and he's wearing that ring. I have a feeling that that's how that's going to come out.
And one would think it would have GPS on it too, not just keeping up with his heart rate and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's at the club. He's just not on the court.
Right. It's got because my thing is it should tell on him either way, right?
Right.
if his heart rate isn't doing anything, like they've been doing a lot of sitting around talking,
Yeah.
okay, then what are you doing if you're not playing pickleball? Because if you're running around playing pickleball, supposedly you're going to have some type of elevation in your heart
Yeah.
rate,
Yeah.
and nothing's happening. And then on the flip side, if it's too high because of what could be happening,
Right.
then that should be an area of concern too. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
but what do you think about Carter actually wanting to? What's the purpose of wanting to marry?
I think the man just wants a relationship so badly and to start a family, which being in love with Quinn would not allow him to have a family. He can't have kids. They would have to,
Correct.
and which is great. That's fantastic. But I think with Paris, she does give him the opportunity to have everything he's ever wanted. And, they were hot too. But again, I still look at that as that was her brother, that was her sister's job. Yeah, that
Yeah.
they were hot, but at the same time, I don't know. I just think he wants so badly to have one the wonderful life that he thinks everyone else that's married has or has kids has, which is just not the truth. There's a lot of married people that are miserable.
Yeah, I hear you. The thing is that at some point, because he's well established now, and there are times that at some point you want to settle down and get married and have children, so you can continue your legacy and your lineage. Um, but just doing it just to get off the market,
Right.
I mean, you want to be able to be with somebody where it does. Now, he claimed he still has feelings for Paris. It's just not the same feelings that he has with.
Yeah.
That's the difference. But the problem is that girl is still married. You're gonna have to let that go.
Yep.
The other thing is Quinn is gonna have to back off because you can't
Yep.
tell this man I don't want to be with you and I can't, but you're telling him not to be with Paris.
Yeah, that's not right.
I mean, it's kind of keeping him in limbo. Like I don't want because why don't Quinn want her to marry him? I mean, why don't Quinn want him to marry her?
Yeah.
What's the big deal? And she really hasn't said. You know what
I
I'm
just
saying?
think she hates Paris because of Paris being the one who blew the whistle.
Yeah, and I get that, but it's like you have no say so in that.
You
Just as
don't.
much as nobody has a say so on your marriage with with Eric, even though she don't know what's going on.
Right.
But you kind of need to back off and let Carter figure out his own life.
Yeah,
You
I agree.
know. But yeah, do I think Quinn still have feelings for him? Absolutely.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so let's move over to Eric and Donna because Donna is put a she told him leave Quinn.
Hmm.
Do you think he's gonna do it?
I don't know how he won't because I think all the old feelings for Donna have reignited. And I think that he knows deep down inside that he's never fully going to forgive Quinn, which is why he's with Donna.
You think
And
that's why he's with Donna?
yeah, because he wouldn't forgive Quinn. So when you can't forgive someone, you can't fully open yourself back up to them. Thus, you can't really get excited with them. And then whenever he got excited with Donna, it was like, oh, I'm a man again. And I think that brought a lot of stuff back for him. And, I don't know. I don't really like them as a couple. They're kind of too, what's the word I'm looking for? Forced sweetness. I don't know.
Hmm.
No,
Yeah,
I just
I only see sex here. I don't see
only, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I with Quinn, I mean, Donna and Eric, I only see sex there. I mean,
Yeah.
everything else with running the company, having a matriarch, um,
This is not Donna.
that's not her. It's Quinn. So
Yeah.
that's why he's caught in the middle of this because he knows other parts of his marriage is completely compatible with Quinn. The only
Right.
thing that Quinn is not doing is giving him the run for his money in the bedroom.
Right. And that's his fault because he won't let her.
Yeah, he's in his head. And
Yeah.
my thing is, after they were caught the first time, that's when he should have made the decision to let Quinn go
Right.
instead of creating this whole entanglement that he made with you all go sleep together because I can't fulfill her needs and
Ugh.
all of that and like I said, it just kind of pushing her out. And at that point, Quinn and Carter was like, I can't do this, you
That was
know,
nonsense.
because
Yeah.
it took the whole adrenaline rush of cheating out of it.
Right.
And it was
Right.
like, I'm giving you permission for you to sleep with my wife. And then now you done fired Donna at one point, and now you're sneaking around the back with
Right.
her.
All
Yeah,
kinds of wrong.
I mean, it just seemed overly sexualized with Donna versus, I could see you being the full package of a marriage with.
Yeah. Having that full in depth connection.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what Eric is going to do. I personally wish he could work things out with Quinn. I like
Me
the two of
too.
them together,
I love Eric and Quinn.
but like you just asked the question, is that going to, if once Quinn find that out, is she going to run back to Carter?
Yeah.
But the thing is she might be left out because
Right.
if he goes ahead and marries Paris, then what?
Right. And then
So
Donna
yeah, a
finds out
lot of
about Eric.
this is going to be interesting this summer.
Some fallout for sure.
Definitely, most definitely. So, but yeah, I hate that they kind of shook that up. I really don't. I'm not feeling the whole Donna and Honey Bear thing all
That
over
whole
again.
honey bear nonsense. Just, oh no,
Yeah, it's just
make it stop.
yeah, it's like can you just let it go, people?
Right.
Just let it go, writers. I mean, we've been there, done that. It's over.
Yeah, we were
Figure
over it a long time ago.
Yeah, or else, at least give Quinn something to get him because it's clearly that he does not have ED, right?
Right. That's exactly right.
So all this is him in his head. He's overthinking this thing, and oh my God, like you said, there's a part of him that still haven't forgiven Quinn, so he's turned off.
Completely, absolutely turned off.
Yep.
Yes.
So all right, moving on. Steffi. Okay, so a lot of people had an issue with Steffi calling Liam to come over the house to tell him that she's leaving town with the kids. I don't
Well,
see an issue with it.
why is there an issue? They have a child together and she's taking that child.
That's what I said, and I'm like, why do you have a problem with that? That it's not like they don't have kids together. That's his daughter. She's
Right.
gonna be gone out of the country for a very long time. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he be
Exactly.
there?
Exactly. And it's not like she didn't say, you come over here and don't bring hope. She has never once said, don't bring hope.
Right.
So if he wanted to go over there and bring hope, he could show up with hope. But he doesn't
Exactly.
want to show up with hope.
Exactly. Exactly. So I didn't get that part that people were so upset about that whole thing. Cause I'm like, we got a daughter together.
Exactly.
So yeah, but people were not happy about that. So that's how we saw Jacqueline go off. I thought maybe that they were gonna have Finn wake up before she leaves.
Yeah, I was hoping.
But because it's like, okay, what are they going to do with Finn now? Is he going to be around LA while she's away when he wakes up? Or is he just going to be sleeping till Jacqueline gets back or what?
Yeah, I don't know. There was something out there that was doing like a tease of what might happen, saying that he wakes up and goes to Paris and they have whatever this scene. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that is so crazy. They shouldn't have killed him off. If they were gonna get him shot like they did back on April, then bring him back where they both were in a coma.
Yeah,
But y'all killed him off as if he was dead, bleeding, gone, and then all of a sudden, because Lee was a doctor, you sneaked him out of the hospital. I'm
she
like,
can steal a body, right?
right? It's just that whole transition just didn't make sense to me.
That was a lot of nothing. Yeah, it was a lot of another annoying storyline where they could have done something more realistic, but now Lee's a body snatcher
Exactly.
and keeping it to herself, which makes it even worse.
Because it would have been better if just say Steffi was in a coma, he was in a coma, and they only showed him periodically. Because I know
Right.
Tanner Novlin had other projects at the time,
Yeah.
but even just show him, every now and then.
Yeah.
Right, and then when they decided to truly have him back with Steffi, then maybe he woke up later and he's healthy, and they're going to take him off. We're going to get away from the town together.
Mhm.
But this
I
whole thing with her leaving and she's thinking he's dead and he's over at Lee's house, I don't know how they're going to fix all of that. So,
I have no idea. I don't know what to expect.
me either. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Okay, but
But I'm glad he's not dead.
yeah, me too. I was excited about that. When I first found that out, I'm like, oh my God.
Yay! We were right.
Yes, yes, he's not dead. And then there's this other storyline with Ridge, Brooke, and Taylor. Now, Taylor knows what she's doing.
Yes.
I mean, she's really moving under the radar with it, but she knows she's trying to set up something cute and nice with Ridge, and he seemed like he's buying it.
Yeah, he didn't look like he minded.
No, because when when Brooke came over there, she was really like, "Why are you here? I know
Right.
your intentions. You should go out of town with your daughter." And
That was pretty presumptuous to think that she has a right to tell Taylor anything.
I know, right? It was crazy. I was sitting up there looking like at Brooke, and I'm like, Ridge. He's just standing there for a long time, and I'm like, "Are you going to say something?"
No, he was stupefied.
Yeah, yeah, that's the perfect word for it. Stupefied.
Just I had to laugh. I'm like, wow, you're really liking this.
Yeah, he was enjoying every minute of it. Yes, he was. So, that whole thing with him, just he had even had a little smirk on his face too.
Did
Did you
he
see
did?
that?
I did see that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, come on. You enjoying every minute of this stuff. So, but
He's
when
a
he sent,
dog. DAWG dog.
girl, listen, I didn't know that he was going to send Brooke home because Brooke was throwing the fact around. He's my husband. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to fight with anybody.
Right.
I'm his wife. And Ridge was like,
Oh,
we got a little bit of something else going on right here. We trying to eat, so I talked to you at the office. I was like, oh,
there's not enough food for three. Get out.
and she was looking crazy.
When she turned around and walked out and said, good night.
I know, right? I was like, wow, because I didn't expect that. I didn't know. I thought he was going to send them both home and like, look, I need to figure this out. I don't need you guys arguing. Because he
Right.
started off saying, I need space. And then he was like, Brooke, I'm going to need you to go home. And then that little setting where they were eating Chinese
Uh-huh.
and the whole thing with the fortune cookie and stuff. And he was like, I really like this. And I'm like, oh, Lord.
Yeah, she did set up for her.
He need to just go ahead and end this thing. If you're going to continue to not want to be involved with your wife and you're still having feelings about Deacon, because that's the other thing. Deacon and he started talking about his feelings, you know.
And he just shows up walking right in the side door.
Yep, as
No
usual.
knocking, no invitation.
He's another one
Knowing
that just
full
showed.
well.
Exactly, he just showed up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that whole
And
thing.
she didn't tell him to get out.
Nope, nope. I wouldn't be a bit surprised that the writers might end up putting them two together. I didn't think they would, but no.
I mean, there's a chemistry there.
I mean, I'm actually liking the chemistry between this Krista Allen, this Taylor,
And Ridge.
and yeah, and Thorsten K.
Yeah, me too.
I like these two together. She's a different. Remember, the other Taylor, she was more feistier,
A little more formal too.
right? Whereas Krista Allen plays Taylor as a little bit more softer, and
Low
she's
key.
very low key. So I'm kind of liking this energy between these two. So I don't know. They might just put them together.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun for a while.
I think so too. I honestly think so too. So we will most definitely have to see.
Yeah, can't wait.
Can't wait. Can't wait. All right. So I think we covered all of the storylines. That Bold is 30 minutes, so
Yeah,
we really can get through the storylines a lot faster. We saw Paris one time this week, and when she was trying to, well, or was that last week when she
I
tried to
think that
put
was
them on
last.
notice?
I think that was last week. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think I might have talked about that already, but yeah, we didn't get no Paris. We got just those, this whole setup with Quinn, Carter, Donna, Eric, and then Steffi leaving, and then the whole thing with Ridge, Brooke, and Taylor. So, yep. All right, so let's go ahead and finish it up and do our flip the script segment. And what that is that if there's a particular scene or storyline that we wish we could change, this is where we flip the script. So, what is your flip the script for Young and the Restless?
So my flip the script for YNR would definitely be with Phyllis telling Diane what she told her, but saying something to the effect of, "You would just love it if I would say that that's what it was, but you're wrong. It's not. We've been leading up to this for months. And for you to insinuate that you had anything to do with our relationship coming to this point is disgusting." I mean, that really, if she would have put it that way,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been such a better direction if they were, since they've shoved Jack and Phyllis back down our throats, quite frankly, you know, go ahead and let's go forward with it. I would. That's what I would have put for YNR.
Okay. And what about Bold?
Bold and the Beautiful. Honestly, this whole Donna Eric thing, I just don't want it. Like, I just don't want it to happen. Every time I see a little thing of honey with a bear, I'm like, oh my God, seriously, I cannot escape this stupid little honey bear. So I would have completely omitted that story and, had Eric and Quinn be working their stuff out instead of having him go to Donna. I'm so unhappy with that story. Those would be my two.
Okay.
What about you?
Okay, so for the Young and the Restless, I would have wanted the whole situation um, with Phyllis. I mean, when she spazzed out even more, that somebody tells her, honestly, you need to get some help with this. I mean, because if you're that obsessed and you think you're backsliding into old behavior, you need to talk to somebody about that.
Yeah.
But to have her continuously go off the rails, it just wasn't a good look.
No, I agree.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one thing I gave kudos to Amanda for telling Phyllis, like, look, you need to take accountability for your actions. But she's at the point where she's all in her head about this. She needs to actually talk to somebody.
I agree.
And then on the Bold and the Beautiful, I kind of, like I said, with this whole Donna and Eric storyline, her asking him to leave his wife, you knew what you signed up for. You just said a few seconds ago, that I'm okay with the sliver of time that I am getting, and then now I want more.
Right.
So which one is it? Do you want more time, or do you want to be the side chick forever? And
Exactly.
yeah, so I don't even want this storyline. Like I say, it's played, it's over. I'm over it. You know, I only see a sexual relationship with those two. I really don't see the whole family marriage thing. Because
Yeah.
even in the marriage that they had, it was always, and look, there's nothing wrong with being sexy with your husband,
Oh, of
but
course.
it was all the time. They all every pretty much every scene that they had
Mhm.
was always sexual.
Yep.
Whereas when he's married to Quinn, they're working together, they're at the piano, um, they're having family time. All they need to do is figure out how to go to some marriage counseling, go to a sex counselor, somebody to help the two, Quinn and Eric, deal with this, because
Absolutely.
I don't even think he's going to get full fulfillment. It'll be only sexual if it's with Donna.
I agree.
So that's what my flip is for this week.
I like it.
All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week of CBS Soap Dish recap of Young and the Restless, Bold and Beautiful for the week of May 30th through June 3rd. Stay tuned for the spoilers coming out for the week of June. Well, June 6th spoilers. I did do some stuff, but it's probably going to be a little bit more. So stay tuned for that. And I'll upload that on the YouTube side. I did upload it on the podcast side as a separate recording. So I looked like there was quite a few viewers. I hope you guys enjoyed that new aspect. So you guys can always let me know in a voice memo on the podcast side, and then of course drop your comments on the YouTube side. So there we have it. So you guys have a good week. Thanks again, Trish,
Thank you.
for coming in this week. I know we've been kind of hit or miss the last couple weeks, but we still got it done, and I'm glad you're back.
Thank you.
All right, so we will see you all next week, and you guys take care. Bye.